Welcome back to Stellar Guy. Today, we're diving into the hilarious yet heartwarming episode, Labor of Love. This one's filled with twists, laughs, and some unexpected family moments. Stick around until the end for a few surprises as Reba, her family, and friends juggle life's chaos in their unique way. Let's get started. The story opens with Brock rummaging through Reba's shed, looking for an old tent. Reba, quick to catch on, wonders if it's male bonding season already. Brock explains that yes, it is, but his friend Ralph will have to camp alone this time since Barbra Jean is in her final weeks of pregnancy. Reba, sensing the irony, gives him a light-hearted jab, praising him for showing a rare husband who cares side. Brock sighs and admits, "It's hard." The conversation shifts when Reba asks if Van, Reba's son-in-law, has heard back from USC about his college application. She's not a fan of the idea, preferring he stay nearby at the University of Houston. Reba explains that most kids want to go far away from their parents for college, but her kids, who are soon-to-be parents themselves, need support close by to get through everything. Brock teases her, suspecting she just wants to keep her grandchild in town. Reba shrugs, admitting that while she wants to be nearby, it's mainly about her kids' well-being. Just as they settle on the matter, Van bursts into the house, excitement radiating from him as he shouts, "California, here we come!" He's thrilled to announce that a USC recruiter will be visiting the next day. While Van celebrates his potential future, Reba quickly tries to pivot his enthusiasm back to the idea of staying local. As Van's excitement builds about USC, he casually mentions wanting Coach Hart's advice on the decision. Reba sees her chance to intervene, telling him Coach is unreachable because he's off fishing. She's hoping to keep Brock's influence out of the picture, ensuring the focus stays on Houston. Van, though slightly disappointed, takes her advice and agrees to discuss the decision with his wife, Cheyenne, and consider all their options. Meanwhile, Brock finally finds his camping tent, but Reba jumps on the opportunity to praise him for giving up his camping trip, subtly planting the idea that he'd be making a big sacrifice by staying back for Barbra Jean. She reminisces about the joys of camping, painting a serene picture of the lake, pine trees, and campfires, and Brock starts to feel nostalgic. With Reba's persuasion tactics working a bit too well, Brock decides that one last trip won't hurt since the baby isn't due for weeks. Reba's plan backfires as Brock packs his things, excitedly heading off on his trip. The following day, the USC recruiter arrives, full of enthusiasm, speaking highly of the school's football program and even presenting Van with a custom USC jersey, complete with his favorite number. Van beams with pride, showing the jersey to Cheyenne, who can't help but be starstruck by the USC recruiter's charisma. Reba, however, is far from impressed and throws in a few dry remarks, accepting a cookie from the recruiter shaped like Texas and insisting that Houston deserves serious consideration. Van and Cheyenne are enchanted by the allure of California, imagining a life near the Hollywood sign, Rodeo Drive, and the endless sunshine. The recruiter sweetens the deal, highlighting USC's top-tier garden apartments and year-round sunshine, but Reba doesn't budge. She mentions earthquakes and mudslides, subtly pressing Van and Cheyenne to rethink California. In the midst of all this, Cheyenne starts feeling sharp discomfort. Her unusual symptoms worry Reba, who quickly realizes Cheyenne might be in labor. She springs into action, instructing Van to grab Cheyenne's hospital bag and tells him to have Kira called Dr. Schmidt. The recruiter, oblivious, tries to secure Van's signature, but Reba promptly sends him out the door, prioritizing Cheyenne's health over the college decision. With everyone in a rush, they arrive at the hospital, where Dr. Schmidt examines Cheyenne and reveals it was just a false alarm. The doctor explains that her body is merely practicing for the actual delivery, calling it Braxton Hicks contractions. Relieved, the family prepares to head home. But suddenly, Barbra Jean's water breaks. This time, it's real labor. Unbeknownst to Brock, Barbra Jean's labor has started, but he's camping and out of range. When Barbra Jean insists she needs Brock by her side, Reba, despite her earlier actions, feels the weight of responsibility. She reassures Barbra Jean that everything will be okay, promising to find Brock and bring him back in time. With determination, Reba sets off on a mission to find him, leaving the family at the hospital in a frantic but humorous state. Meanwhile, Barbra Jean is surrounded by Reba's family, who do their best to comfort her in Brock's absence. Van does his best to use the coaching tips they learned in birthing class, helping Barbra Jean breathe through the contractions, while Kyra keeps Jake entertained with the occasional playful distraction. After a tense search, Reba finally reaches Brock's campsite and informs him of Barbra Jean's labor. Brock, frazzled and in disbelief, scrambles to pack up. He's frustrated that he wasn't reachable and feels guilty for missing such an important moment. Reba drives as quickly as possible, navigating through the rough roads to get Brock back in time. Along the way, Brock expresses his regret for leaving, but Reba reassures him that what's more important is that he'll be present for the long run. The drive becomes a moment of reflection for both Reba and Brock. He admits he feels terrible for choosing camping over being there for Barbra Jean, and Reba, in a rare moment of vulnerability, admits that she sent him away for her own reasons, not wanting him to influence Van's college choice. Brock, taken aback, realizes that Reba's actions stemmed from her desire to keep her family together, even if it meant a little scheming. Back at the hospital, Barbra Jean's labor progresses quickly. The family huddles together, doing their best to keep her spirits high. Jake, curious and confused, sits beside Barbra Jean, fascinated by everything happening around him. Cheyenne and Van continue encouraging Barbra Jean, using all they learned in their birthing class to keep her comfortable and calm. Just as they reach a critical moment, Brock and Reba rush into the hospital, reuniting with the family. Brock takes Barbra Jean's hand, apologizing for his absence, and she's relieved to see him there. Dr. Schmidt announces it's time for Barbra Jean to push, and with everyone's support, she gives one last big effort. Moments later, the baby is born, and it's a boy. The family erupts with joy, and Brock proudly holds his son, filled with gratitude and love. With the new baby safely delivered, the family gathers around Barbra Jean and the newborn. Everyone shares in the joy of the moment, but Van and Cheyenne are still left with their big decision about USC. Reba, feeling the weight of everything that's happened, gives the young couple her blessing, saying she and Brock will support them no matter what they decide. Cheyenne, deeply touched, reflects on the birth and decides that family is what matters most. She admits that although California seemed glamorous, she'd prefer to raise their child closer to family. Van, who initially leaned towards USC, agrees, realizing that Houston is the best choice for their growing family. The family celebrates the decision, and Brock, with a twinkle in his eye, playfully nudges Van, promising to be there for every one of his games. And that wraps up this heartfelt episode, Labor of Love. Between hilarious family dynamics, the unforgettable birth, and some big life decisions, this episode really shows the ups and downs of family life. Thanks for watching Stellar Guy. Be sure to subscribe for more recaps and behind-the-scenes insights on your favorite episodes. Until next time,